Hi, I'm Matt with etrailer, and today we're going to be talking about our Rhino Rack Roof Rack system with the SX series towers and our Vortex bars. Now let's take a closer look at it. Now our roof rack system is going to be a great option for you if you're really looking at getting more space out of your vehicle. If you're kind of running out of room in the back, maybe you have a lot of people in the back, whether they be kids, other friends, or anything like that, or it's already full of other things. So it's going to be a great option for any luggage or camping supplies. On top, we're going to have our 54-inch Vortex Aero Crossbars, and beneath that, we're going to have our Series SX towers. Now let's take a closer look at each one of those. Our Vortex Aero Crossbars are really nice, especially with that shape. It's going to make it more aerodynamic, and we're going to have this built-in weather strip. That's also going to contribute to that and help it be more wind resistant. What I also do like about that weather strip too is protecting that T-channel, so you don't have any debris getting in there, and it's going to help reduce that wind noise. And what's nice about this end cap too is it's going to have this built-in mechanism, and we're going to have an included key so we can take that off. So and that's just kind of deter any theft if anyone were to come by and try to take any T-track accessories off your vehicle. And your towers are going to come specifically made for our vehicle today. And what's really nice is the way they install is just going to be right underneath your crossbars. And then they're going to have this built-in clamp that will attach to your flush rails. And it's really easy to install, as you'll see later. We just have a knob at the very end to tighten everything up, and it has a built-in lock core just for that added security. Now the way they're going to sit up here, if we measure from the top of our roof to the bottom of our crossbar, we're going to have about 3 inches in between there. So that's just something to kind of note. If you have any clamp-on accessories, if you don't plan on using the T-channel on top, just making sure you know what you can put on here. And now if we measure from the top of our roof to the top of the crossbars, that's going to be 4.5 inches. That's important to know what areas you have clearance under. So what I recommend doing is taking the total height of your vehicle and then taking the total height of the crossbars too, adding those together to make sure you know. And then for a hangover, because we do have a little bit of hangover, if I'm going from our flush rails to the end of the crossbar, that's going to be at 5.5 inches, which isn't going to stick out very far at all. It's still going to stay within your vehicle, but you might be able to put on maybe one clamp-on accessory if it has a cylinder clamp. And we're also going to have a weight capacity of 165 pounds. Just always make sure you check what your roof can handle, just checking your owner's manual. But overall, this is a roof rack system that I really like. It's really straightforward and easy to install. But if you do need a hand with that, just stay tuned. We'll show you how to do that. All right, to start off our install, we're going to want to lay everything out. So I'm going to have my SX Rhino Rack towers, and we're going to have the keys that go along with them. And then I'd also recommend getting out your pads that go on top of those clamps and just kind of organize them so you don't lose them. And I'd also recommend getting a tape measure. You're also going to have this included tool, and this is going to be your Rhino Rack key to kind of help you get these end caps off your crossbar. Now let's take a closer look at how to install this. Now what I recommend is starting off with putting these pads on the end clamp here, just kind of matching up that shape and sliding it right on. You can also loosen this up so it fits onto your crossbars a little bit better. Ours are already loosened up, but what you have to do to loosen it is just turn this counterclockwise and get this clamp nice and loose. Next up, I like to just flip over my crossbar so the bottom side is facing up. And we can remove these end caps using our included tool. Just turning that until it unlocks. Sometimes you might have to turn it a little bit more. There we go. And now all we have to do is line up this block here with that channel. Now if you didn't loosen this up enough, or this might just be at a certain point where it doesn't want to loosen up any, you might have to adjust it some. And after adjusting it some where it'll kind of slide on in there, you can also push this clamp in, because that can kind of help too. And it'll just slide through that channel and kind of place it roughly where you think you're going to need it. After when you've completed this process, just do that same thing on the other side. Now we want to get our crossbar spread. Now Rhino Rack does have a recommendation of how far you should have your crossbar spread. is going to be in between a little bit less than 28 inches and all the way up to 31.5 inches. So just kind of come over here, kind of get a rough estimate of what you need to accommodate whatever accessories you have, and kind of mark it off with something. I just use some painter's tape. Now, if you do have something that is a little bit wider or shorter than that, then I would accommodate that instead, even if it is just slightly off. You're just gonna roughly place it up there, kind of where you left your marker at. Just lining up those clamps to your flush bars. And then you can go over to the other side and make your final adjustments, so making sure that these clamps are around those rails. And when everything is lined up, you can now take out this little tightening knob on the end and tighten these clamps down. You don't want to tighten it down all the way though. You just want to get it to where it's getting a little bit of resistance, and then you can go on the other side and tighten that one down as well. Just going back and forth until it's tightened all the way down. Now we can just lock up our end caps on top of our crossbars and lock up the system itself using your included key. After that, I like to just double check it, make sure everything's feeling nice and tight, and when it is, then you can take it for a ride. But if you liked everything you saw today, that was just a look at the Rhino Rack Roof Rack system on our 2022 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport.